Hello everyone, it's me, Nancy Finch, doing another Tea with Nan on a Monday at 12 o'clock. I've got my Aquarius cup today, because that's what I am, full of truth. Always pouring truth on others. So yeah, are you okay? I guess you are, guys. I hope you've been really good the past week. Since I last saw you, there's been a fabulous full moon. I did a beautiful full moon Reiki share at the weekend. It was lovely, beautiful. And the energy from that has been stirring up, because it was a Pisces moon, been stirring up lots of feelings in people for them to sort of move forward from. So I did a really nice meditation. Hi Grace, lovely to see you. I'm glad you were there at the Reiki share. It was lovely, wasn't it? So I did a really nice meditation that went with the energy of the moon. And it was all about sort of sitting near an open fire and just, you know, really being primal with your feelings. So if you want to listen or look at that, it's the energy of the flame. Big hugs to you too, Grace. It's the energy of the flame, and it's on my website. So if you look it up, and you can also find it on YouTube. If it isn't on my website, yeah, I do apologise. But if you want to look it up, it's on YouTube on my Facebook page. So it's www.nancyfinch.co.uk. And if it isn't on there, hi Jane, and then just YouTube it. You'll find it on there. So that's lovely. Hi Jane, I hope you're okay, darling. It's lovely that you've joined us for Tea with Nan. I hope you've got a nice cuppa and you're relaxed. So yes, you can look up that meditation, because it's really powerful at helping you to move forward from I don't know, your past negative stuff, patterns and behaviours, people, places. It's really good to move you forward. So anyway, and to feed your base chakra. So I hope you can look at that. That's really good. But today, what we've got, oh, hi Jane. Big heart to you too, darling. Thank you for joining me. I hope you can share this with everybody, your friends and family, and get at what the topics we're talking about are really useful for people to look at and to realise how they can change their lives, or just change their focus of where they're placing their energy. Because if, you know, it's Monday, you're thinking about the week, you're thinking about commitment, you're thinking about stuff you need to do, and, you know, it can be a bit of a roller coaster, you know, up and down, and you're feeling, you know, you gather momentum through the week. You need to kind of just be focused. And I think Monday's a really good day for that. And as you know, Monday's my favourite day. So today is all about listening to your inner voice, okay? Your intuition, your gut feeling. And a lot of people I know that are very sensitive, they recognise that part of themselves, myself included, but how many of us really trust it? It takes years, I think, for some people to trust their intuition, to trust their own gut feelings, because sometimes we don't want to be right about what we're feeling. And sometimes we're afraid that we're not in control of a situation if we do. So we kind of just step back from that and think, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to act upon my logic, not my intuition. So it might be that tiny voice telling you not to do something. That little voice in your head, your wisdom, your higher self, that says to you, that's not a good person to trust, or don't go down that road at that time. Oh, hi Kay, lovely to see you. If you've just joined me, we're talking about listening to our inner voice, our intuition. And trusting that, trusting our feelings, you know. We don't all trust our feelings. So yeah, as I say, we're afraid sometimes to acknowledge what that feeling might be. So if we've kind of invested in some person or a situation or whatever we're doing, we kind of invest ourselves into that with a logical thought. But if that little voice says, no, this isn't right, we don't always want to invalidate that choice. So we just ignore it. We ignore our little voice, our higher self inside that says, don't do that. Get away from that person. Sort that, you know, take a different direction, whatever. And so many of us do this. And I was trying to think of a few examples, but the one I can think of that comes to mind first is in March this year. I had to think how many years ago. In March this year, I didn't listen to the little voice inside my head that said, do not go to a certain open mic that I like singing at. And I had this strong feeling that says, turn back, don't go. And I've been really careful up to then, and high vibrational thoughts of staying well. But what happened is I totally ignored that feeling. I put it down to, well, you haven't sang for a few years. Maybe it's just that. Maybe you're just nervous. And so I went past that. I thought, I'm doing it. I love singing and I love playing drums. So I thought, I'm going. But before I even got through the door, I knew straight away that this was going to be something that I would not regret, but have an experience from. I knew I was going to get COVID. I just knew it. And of course I did. And not that I minded that, because yes, of course I got over it really quickly. I hardly suffered at all with it. I was very lucky and intentional. But it's not the point. I didn't listen to my feelings. I just knew I was going to, it just made me giggle. I thought, that'll teach me to listen to my feelings more. I mean, we've never made a mistake. We're going to learn from our experiences, aren't we? So I didn't really punish myself saying, oh, you've made a mistake, you could have done that better. All I did was I said to myself, oh, hi, Vicky, lovely to see you. All I said to myself was, this is an experience I can use. So the day after I actually realised I had it, I was on here doing a COVID talk, thinking, well, I might as well use what I know to help other people who have it. So something good will always come from something bad, I believe. And I didn't have it very long, and I was very happy about helping other people. It had its own gifts in that situation. But it was a really good example of not listening to that voice in my head that was getting bigger and bigger as we were travelling. I was going towards this venue. I knew, and I just know it in my heart, and I've been doing this a long time, but I chose to ignore it. So how many of us do that? We do this all the time. On a good note, we might have an inkling to, I don't know, I've got to get loads of shopping in right now because I might, for no reason at all, might not be able to leave home. And something might happen at home that actually keeps you there, and you couldn't go out and you had to be there for a family member. That happened to one of my lovely clients, and she told me last week that she had this feeling for no reason at all, just to do a major shop. And she said she didn't even know why she was doing it. She had lots of food in. So she had no idea until she got home, and the next day she had her dear husband had a stroke. So she had to stay with him 24/7. And it was something she was thinking, wow, I listened to my feelings. I mean, I'm not saying it could be a big thing like that. It could be small. It doesn't matter what it is. If you listen to your feelings, you're in a good place of trusting yourself and attracting more situations that you trust yourself in. So, I mean, there's so many things. I mean, my client she was amazed that she just knew without knowing why. And we have those feelings inside us, but we don't listen to them. You know, that intuition lives in here, in that third eye area. Thank you for the heart. As I say, we tend to be more logical. Hi, Helen. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. We tend to listen to that logic because we're taught that logic will find solution. And we don't tend to listen to the intuition in case we're wrong. But that all really stems down to the fact we don't trust ourselves. So I always, when I do this little water ceremony in the morning, I love doing my water ceremonies. I'm going to reference that. Well, basically, it's Tea with Nan on the 8th of the 8th, 22, where every morning I say I listen to my intuition, I listen to my higher self. It's great. It's an intention, amongst other things I intend. It's a really good thing to intend, to put that into your head, okay? To put it into your subconscious mind, which is listening to every word you say. Because on a conscious 5%, you're going to go, I don't believe in myself. Or maybe you might think you do, but at odd times you'll behave as if you don't. And you won't listen to that voice. So if we can just incorporate a feeling of mindfulness, that we're going to be mindful to listen to our voice inside and to tap into that. There's loads of ways we can do it. I do it with the water ceremony, but you can also do it with a lovely affirmation, a simple affirmation. Write this down. I trust and believe in myself. I trust and believe will open this one. I've worked it out. I used to have terrible trouble, imbalances in that area, sinuses and all sorts. And I know the power of affirmations. And I know that if you were to say, I trust and believe in myself, and you just say that to yourself, maybe in your mind as you're getting ready for morning or whatever, or you say it just when you're driving maybe, your brain is listening to you. You know, it hears every word you say and it doesn't argue with you. It believes you and helps to make it so. It definitely opens that one. And so I don't have any more sinus problems now, because if I have any inkling of it, I'll just say, because this one's quite often shut with me, because I take a lot of information in. So I could open it with opening chakras, or I could just say, I trust and believe in myself. And then suddenly I do. And all imbalance changes in that area. So I know that that is a very powerful sentence to help keep that energy working in that area and to keep you receptive to listening to your little inner voice that's going to say, don't go there. don't trust that person. Don't go down that road. Or to get something you need. Quite often I have that little voice saying, you've got to buy a drum. Why do I need a drum? I'm thinking, I don't need a drum. I found myself looking at adverts for a tongue drum. I had no idea why. Well, I do love playing drums, but this was in the lockdown. I was thinking, I've got to buy it. And it turns out that I was asked later on to do demonstrations with this tongue drum because I love playing it. But also I ended up using it, and most importantly, for my meditations. I had no idea I was going to go online and do the meditations, but the tongue drum was a real good part, a lovely part of it. Hi, Louise. And it's got such a lovely energy. Well, I didn't think that was a good idea. I felt it. I felt it in my heart. I really knew that that little voice in my head said, get that, do that. And it was right. So on many occasions, I do listen to that. I tend to do impulse buys now because of it, because I think, well, I'm going to use this somehow or somewhere, and it's always true. So it's only the COVID one I thought was really funny because I wasn't listening to my own, putting myself in danger of catching it. And of course I knew I would. So no more of that, I think. If I listen to my inner voice, I might just know not to go somewhere. Another client of mine, talking about COVID, she said that she went with a big family meeting, had to go for a big meal, and not so long ago. And she had this terrible feeling just before they all walked in. They'd booked a table and she was with family that were looking forward to going to this place, and she had this feeling, really bad feeling, I can't go in there, because she's actually quite vulnerable. She didn't want to go in there, not because of fear, but she had this feeling inside her mind that kept saying, don't go in there, it's not safe, you're going to catch COVID. So she told everybody, she had to be brave enough to do that. She told everybody in the group, I'm sorry, I can't go in that building. I just have a very bad feeling about it. So they took it quite well, and then they went somewhere else. But that was her really trusting her feeling. And it could have been, some people might say it was coming from fear, but I really believe that the more she listened to her inner feelings, the more she knows it's true. So I'm suggesting that you do this every day, that you listen to your feelings, so that the good things in life, you know, I have a feeling to buy this, I have a feeling to go there, I have a feeling to go on that course, I have a feeling to drive down that road. Those feelings, for no logical reason, will pay off, and you will end up feeling more trust. And when you feel more trust, this one stays open. And also, while you're feeling trust in yourself, which will happen at a deeper level than ever, you're forming new pathways in your mind. So eventually you'll form new pathways that kind of naturally make you feel like you trust yourself. It becomes a norm for you, whereas it might be, first off, it's going to be a bit unusual. I don't know if I trust myself. It's going to be a new pathway that you form. Eventually that becomes the norm, and you will want to stay on that path. So that's good for your mind. It's good for your chakras, of course. I talk about these all the time. It's good because it makes you feel safe when you trust yourself. Trust is here and here and here. And when you trust yourself and you think, yes, I just know I'm right, even if you haven't had the evidence of that intuition yet, you'll just know you're right in your heart, in your head. So, and it will pay off, hopefully. So while you're feeling that, you're actually feeling that you are safe. And when you're feeling safe, this base chakra that keeps your whole body working well will want to stay open, because you won't be worried. If you feel safe and you feel you've got trust in your life, you won't be worried. And that's going to be a huge benefit physically for you, because when we worry, we take down our base chakra and other chakras as well. So we need to keep ourselves worry less. So we must just keep thinking, I'm going to trust myself to guide me where I need to be in life. I'm going to trust that little voice and not let the logic get in the way, because the logic is lovely for problem solving, and we know what to do with that. We know we learn a certain way of behaving and doing things to make things work in our lives. So that logic's going to guide me to problem solve. That's very well. That's very great. But what about that little voice in your head that says, now's the time. Now's the time to make action or to do something. And I've listened to that countless of times when I've had to change career, when for no reason at all, that little voice said, now. And it was right. I've never regretted it. That little voice said, move to a new house. Little voice said, move from an ex-husband. But at the time, there was no reason for it logically. But because that was just on its own, I believed it was right. I thought, I'm going to act on this. I've never regretted any of that the action I've taken from listening to that little voice generally. So I hope you can do that. As I said, the tea with Nan, I've done a few weeks back, was water ceremony, the 8th of the 8th, which is just something I happen to do to set intention every day. You don't have to do that if you don't want to, but it's a nice thing to do. And another one I've got here is trusting your gut feelings. Now, I know that sounds very similar to what we're talking about today, but your gut feelings, I'm talking about your body. Your physical body will react to certain things, and it's a practical exercise I offer in that tea with Nan, and that was about almost body divining, if you like. Your body's a divining tool, and that was on the 27th of the 6th, 2022, obviously this year. So look at that one, go back and listen to that. Trusting your gut feelings will go nicely with what we're talking about, with listening to your inner voice. Slight different angle on it, and a practical exercise you can do with it, okay? So that will help you. But I just tune into all of you, and I thought I've got to remind you all just to be aware of that little voice. I mean, it's very important for our safety, our well-being, for what we attract into our lives, because the more we trust ourselves, the more we feel that we're supporting ourselves with our own higher self-knowledge, intuition, the better we'll be for ourselves and others, and collective consciousness will evolve as well. A very close family member of mine, this week, this is what inspired me to do this today actually, he had a very bad accident where he was cleaning a chain of a motorbike, and suddenly the whole top part of his thumb was ripped in with a rag into the chain. Now he's kind of lost most of that part of the thumb, and it was a very gruesome and terrible thing for him to suffer. And I was there to help. But I remember him saying to me on the way to the hospital, I had this little voice. Hi, Annie. nice that you're here, darling. He said to me, do you know, seconds before it happened, I had this voice in my head saying, this is really dangerous. This could rip you in and you're not safe. Stop it. And do you know what? Seconds later, he didn't stop. He just carried on. and now I believe that the inner voice exercise, you know, he's had an experience with that, not listening to it. Oh, thank you, Annie, for listening so far. And yes, listen to it again later. It's just to inspire you to listen to your little inner voice. So going back to what I was saying, my family member didn't listen to his voice at that time. And I believe that although something, what you could call very painful and tragic, happened for lots of reasons, I really believe it could have actually saved his life, because who knows, he might have been overtaking a car later on and that little inner voice says, don't overtake now, it's dangerous. He could have actually saved his life now if he listens to that voice as a result of not listening to his little voice. So I'm intending that's the positive from it, as I always find positives from every negative. So he hopefully will listen to his little voice, his intuition that says, no, this is dangerous, don't do it. And if we all learn to do that, we are protecting ourselves, we might be protecting other people, you know, something good will come from it, I'm sure. So yes, I hope you can do that. I bet every one of you listening here has got a story to tell where you didn't listen to that voice, or you did and something good happened. So if you want to talk to me about that, or you know, give me any comments, you can comment on here, comment on YouTube, and I'm going to put it on later. Like, subscribe and share. And or you can just come back to me next week and tell me how you feel about that. how you've practiced doing this all week. If you set the intention in the morning, I am listening to my higher self, my inner voice, then your brain is listening, it frees you up. If you say the affirmation, I trust and believe in myself, it's going to help you. Hi Jan, lovely to see you on here, darling. So yes, that affirmation, I trust and believe in myself, will naturally open this. Naturally, you'll be able to hear yourself easier and act upon that wisdom that you know inside you. Another thing I was going to offer is how to open your chakras. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back to the very first talk I ever did, the Nan Talks, and I believe that is in the red section, I think. Yes, it is. How to open chakras, it's called. And if you really wanted to, you don't have to do them all, although I do advise at the time you do. But if you wanted to really just listen to your higher self, this is the one you want to do. So you circle with this tiny little chakra and you just pull it out, open and balance. And I teach you how to do that in that first talk. But that would be the one, if I really needed to listen to my own voice, my inner knowing, I would make sure I pulled that one out, and or say the affirmation. That's really good. Or do the water ceremony that I like to do. So I hope this has been inspirational to you. I hope you can share this with people. And remember, you know, if your gut feeling's telling you something, you really have to listen to it. And the more you listen to it, the more you'll have this knowing, this trust in yourself that somehow you just know where to go and you'll let it guide you. Major decisions can be easier if you just trust yourself, trust your knowing. And the more you get used to trusting, the easier it gets to trust. You trust those little things in life. You trust that the right car park is going to be there for you. You know, you just kind of investigate what you're feeling. How am I feeling? Am I using logic? Am I using just logic? No, I'm going to use my gut feelings, my intuition, and I'm going to allow that to guide me and listen to it and act upon it. Because when you get good results from it, you will feel so good physically, as I say, on these chakra areas, emotionally, mentally. You'll attract more good things of the same. By the law of attraction, you're going to attract more things to trust. You're going to attract more success, and you'll just feel lucky. So I hope you can play with this, guys. Enjoy that. As I say, look to the website if you need to. Go on YouTube if you want to look up any of those things that I said. The affirmations are very powerful. So I trust and believe in myself. You could start with that today, and then perhaps work from that and see how you feel. Maybe, as I say, do the water ceremony, or just listen to the trusting your gut feelings that I did previous. And you will probably find that you will naturally start to trust. Maybe tiny baby steps first, but trust yourself, because you know everything inside you. You know the answers, but you've just got to stop and listen without the logic getting in the way. Trust your gut feeling. Trust your inner voice. So that's me done for today. I hope you've enjoyed this. I love being on here. I never know what I'm going to talk about, but this seemed very apt today. And I hope that you can trust yourself and keep your emotional balloon high. It's very important that the more trust we have in ourselves, the happier we will be, and we will naturally stay in a high emotional place, which I hope you can be in, because that's good for so many reasons, isn't it? So I'm sending you all a big hug, a big heart to you all, and thank you for being on here. And please share this and listen to yourself, and let me know how you get on, if you like, next week when you join me for another Tea with Nan at 12 o'clock. Okay. Namaste. Lots of love to all of you, and stay happy and trust yourself. Bye everyone. Bye.